All right. Looks like we got 911 Turbo with a little bit of patina on it. I think we're about to go on a test drive in this car now. This is another car exclusive to the Gasworks Garage collection. As you can see, this is a Turbo Carrera. Picnic table, wide fenders, Fuchs wheels. Looks like it's got an antenna delete. This is a really nice car. So Greg is going to take us on a spin in this car. What do you think? We going for a spin? Want me to hop in?
19,000 miles piece after a run.
Wow, 19,000 miles and original paint. Ooh. All right, let's do it. Seatbelt on?
Yeah, this one you do.
Well, this one has seatbelts, not a harness.
That's true.
It's not a race car, and I'm not a race car driver.
The cops could see the belts in this one.
So when did a passenger side mirror become like a standard feature?
Or was that? That would have been late 70s, I think, early 80s. Not exactly.
All right. Got gas. All right, take this for a spin.
These older cars, you want to make sure they're good and warm. I actually had it warming up for about 5-7 minutes.
So this car is also a 77.
Also 77, but this is not naturally aspirated. This is an aspirated car. The car we were in prior is a naturally aspirated car. This pushes probably a little bit more than 300 horsepower. These were not US cars to start with.
So originally this car was only available in Europe. In
75 to 77 were the first 930s. They were based on the 935 race car, which was a world champion race car, also known as the Widowmaker, because they had such high boost to them that if you got on it in a turn, it would come around and bite you.
It feels like this one wants to be pushed.
It does.
Like when you're in these low RPMs, it feels like it wants to jump out.
It needs to.
So this is a single turbo.
Single turbo, big turbo car. I think 3.3 liter.
Now, when they were making the 935 race cars, did they have to build this to homologate those cars? Like, how's that work?
Likely, yes. Typically with the race cars, you do have to build a certain amount of them. I don't recall what the numbers were for the 70s, but you had to produce like maybe 400 of them, because the Project 930 program built 400 cars between 75 and 77. Also, that time was when they were running the 935s very, very strongly through the race programs that existed then.
Right. So most likely they had to build these for the road to be able to run those cars.
I think they also built them for the road for the demand of the car.
Because so many people wanted it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool car. Even 40 years later, it's really still a cool car. You know, more than 40 years.
Yeah, it's amazing how the demand for these turbos, as you go backwards in generations, the demand is starting to skyrocket.
Yeah, it keeps growing.
I mean, even within the last few years, as you know, I've started to learn some of these cars. I've seen them jump.
Yeah.
You know,
prices have gone. If you bought one of these 10 years ago, you would have had more more than plenty of equity, and not only the chance to have the equity, and more importantly, you would have had a lot of fun.
Right. You would have gotten a chance to use the car.
Yeah, that's what gets missed nowadays is the fun factor.
Right. Yeah, everybody's trying to buy investment pieces. Oh yeah, this thing moves.
A little different than the other car. Definitely you hear the from the turbos.
The turbines. Yeah.
Or turbo, I should say. Sorry.
Right, single turbo. Yeah, you can feel this car likes to be in the upper RPMs. It's almost like it's waiting for you to kind of push it.
Oh, yeah, it's aggressively waiting.
In terms of weight, is this car similar to like the last car we drove, the RSR?
This car is probably 800 pounds more. You're probably in you're right around 3,000 pounds. This car with the turbo, I want to say they're in the mid threes of horsepower. Right. So you're making up for a little bit of the excess weight
with the turbo.
With the turbo,
right?
But it's a very different driving car. This is more horsepower, more everything, and it's got the look. Not to mention, this car is an original 19,000 mile car.
Right. This car was found in a collection from the original owner, right, in California?
In California. It sat under a tarp for 25 years, and you'll see from the walk-around video that I tried to express some of the patina that exists on this car. It was one that was found. The original paint is what's on the car. A tarp kind of removed some of that original paint, showing the primer underneath.
Right. So they were able to preserve the original paint in the car and the condition,
yeah.
But from sitting under a car cover for so many years, what was it, like 20 years, something
20,
like?
I heard 25 years.
25 years under a car cover, it started to patina the paint.
Yeah, it eroded some of the paint, let's say. But
so what we did was
it didn't go down to bare metal, it just went to the primer.
Right.
And in order to protect and preserve the patina, the original paint, the whole car was re-cleared.
Right.
So it's smooth as butter up there.
It's nice. So original 19,000 mile car with the original paint, all original car, unbastardized, as they call it.
Yeah. Unmolested.
Unmolested, period correct.
Yes.
With all of the options.
This one has the sport seats to it too.
Right, sport seats. It's got the Blancpain radio. Wow.
Definitely feel a difference.
Yeah, you really feel the
acceleration.
Yes.
Yeah. This feels like you should be out on the Autobahn running it at limitless speeds.
Right, yeah, this car wants to be up in the... What's the RPMs go to in this car?
This goes to 6,900, 6,800
right.
RPMs for the red line.
So it wants to be up there. It's got a pretty aggressive sound to it, too.
Even just sitting idle, this thing sounds so raw.
So at the time when this car came out, was the turbo the highest model in the range?
It became, yes. In 77, you had the biggest naturally aspirated was the 911S,
right.
Which we just sold, our wonderful 76 911S with
right.
11,000 original mile, one owner car, went to a collector.
So after you jumped from a 911S, naturally aspirated, the next car would be the Turbo Carrera?
Yeah, it was the 930s or Project 930 cars.
Right.
Which is a drastic difference in the two cars. I mean, a 911S, absolutely a blast. So much fun to run around the back roads with and even get a little track time in. And it's just an everyday car. But these were the advent of the modern day supercars.
Right.
Were based on this.
Because it just jumped in power once you added the turbo to these cars.
And it was not just the turbo that was added to this car. You had a wider track on the car. You had the bigger flared fenders, bigger tire package, as much grip as possible, which you really needed with these. Because when that, like I said, when that turbo kicks in, it's moving.
That's pretty cool. But Porsche as a brand has always been, you know, race focused, right? Track focused.
Always track focused. Always based a lot on lighter weight.
Right.
Not needing as much horsepower, but being able to carry that horsepower with the lighter weight.
And the most extreme version of that is the 911R, right?
Correct. Those were 1967. They were like they built 24 altogether, 4 prototypes, 20 production cars.
Right.
It was built. That was built more for the track and solely for the track. I know that people do drive them, but a real one of those is probably north of $1 million.
Right.
$1.5 million.
That's a $1 million car.
Yeah. So it's kind of takes the fun factor out of it. I mean, fun to look at, but
can't really drive it.
Can't really drive it
because it's more artwork now.
Yeah.
You know, owning a piece of history.
Unless you have a 911R tribute car.
Oh. Would you happen to know anybody that's got a 911R tribute?
Quite possibly, but we'll get to that video.
All right. So stay tuned. So we're almost back at home base. It's another car, you know, besides from the engine, the car itself inside the cabin is quiet, no shakes, rattles, and rolls. No.
40-year-old, 43-year-old car. Doing better than I am.
Yeah, 43-year-old car with original 19,000 miles.